Welcome back, everyone, and what a show we've got tonight. Good evening, Richard. Good evening, Danny. How are you, boys?
Very good, Paul. Very good.
All good, mate.
Good, good. Let's just have a little look here. What have I got going on here? Yeah, a little error on the X. Never mind. We'll remove that. Hold on one second. Right, guys. So we are live, and what a show! What a packed show we've got tonight. We're going to be talking about Tommy, the latest on Tommy. We got Boots. We've got a knife arrest and more mental health that seems to be more contagious than small COVID and coughs and colds. We're going to be talking about the police. We're going to be talking about, are they getting a rough ride or are they really two-tier? I'm sure they are. We're going to be talking about the police in Brighton. We're going to be talking about London. We're going to be talking about Iraq. We're going to be talking about farmers. We're going to be talking about the decapitated head found in Edinburgh. And we're going to be talking about a police officer arrested under the Terrorism Act. That's just breaking today. First of all, Richard, good evening. Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you know what? I'm just feeling a bit whacked at the minute, to be brutally honest with you. I think there's been a lot of stress over the last few days, and I'm just feeling a little bit knocked for six. So apart from that, I'm good, but I'm not quite my usual perky self.
Now, before we go any further, Danny is back in the UK to look after his elderly dad, who's been in the hospital, unfortunately. But Danny, you had some even worse news today. Do you want to just, because I know that a few people know about it.
A few people are going to know, but my missus was expecting, and sadly last night she lost the baby, so that's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But I come on tonight because I just wanted to clear my head a little bit, change the topic going on upstairs, so it's good for me.
Yeah, really sorry, Danny. Obviously, to hear that, and love and best wishes to Sophie.
But
yeah. Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. We'll get the smaller topics out of the way first. Give it a few minutes for everyone to come in. The first thing I want to talk about is that bloody Boots advert. I mean, what the hell, Boots? I mean, I said yesterday that look, Boots is one of my wife's favourite places to shop. She spends a fortune there, right? But they are well and truly boycotted after that woke, horrible advert that contained a woman who was racist towards the royal family. What are Boots playing at? Danny, your views on that one?
Look, mate, it's there's a big thing in there, boycott Boots. I mean, that seems to be the new trend that's going around at the moment, and whether people would do that or not, I don't know. There's other stores that can go in, and they're super drugs and things like that, and savers and stuff. But look, right, it seems to be we are going more and more woke on absolutely everything on the mainstream media, isn't it? Right? Whatever, I've not got a problem with it personally. I see where people are coming from, but it just seems that we're getting we're ticking every box, aren't we, for every advert now? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know, Richard. I mean, you watched something else, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I was doing my research. Didn't even know we were going to be talking about this, but I did a bit of research on it this morning. So the wife sent me, says, you got to watch this advert because obviously everyone's given off about it. And I watched it. Like Danny, I mean, to be brutally honest with you, I didn't actually think it was that bad. Didn't really like a transvestite doing Christmas stuff. Nothing against transvestites, but what's that got to do with the Christmassy thing with kids and all that sort of thing? So that
ticking the box.
Didn't really fill me. It's ticking the box. Didn't really fill me full of joy and merriment. Again, wasn't quite sure what Mrs. Claus was really on about. But would it make me boycott Boots? No. And then I watched, and this is where it gets interesting actually. Then I watched a 3-minute video, the making of the Boots commercial, and I think he was the marketing director for Boots or something. Minced on, let's just say he minced on in a gold spangled jacket, and he was, you know, the expression "campus Christmas." He was campus Christmas, and that's all I'm going to say about this geezer. And it went kind of the making of it kind of went downhill from there, and it was almost like one of those really bad sitcoms, like Absolutely Fabulous or something like that. They all fitted the stereotypes. You had the director who was a bit like a sort of Robert De Niro character, and he just didn't really give a toss. He just wanted to make a film. And then you had the marketing people and the PR people, and they were all thinking it was lovely and air kissing each other. And I thought, you know what? These people have not done this deliberately to piss off the British public. This is the scary thing. they genuinely do not understand how the British public will react to this. And I kind of felt a bit sorry for them because they think they've made this fantastic, groundbreaking commercial, and everyone else is going, it's pants, it's rubbish, So it was just a bit of an eye opener to see the backstage, the way these people get on. I thought, yeah, that explains a lot about the film, television, and broadcast industry. And I'm not going to say any more about that for obvious reasons.
But look, do you know the way I see it, right, is that this is one little thing. People might be watching now and going, oh, so what? Well, you know what? It's the slow burn, isn't it? They're peeling away at us bit by bit by bit. But this is a little one where we can fight back. And as Chris says, thank you very much. Chris says, screw Boots, peed off with a wokery crap. Just don't spend your money there this year. Just avoid it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what my wife's going to do. What my family's going to do. If they want to pay a load of woke people a load of money for a load of woke nonsense, let them learn what the British public feel. So Boots can shove their Christmas where the sun don't shine. We're going to Superdrug.
Paul, I was just thinking about that. We could get some product placement for Superdrug off the back of this, Paul. We could have a little strap line down at the bottom. I reckon you go. We could probably charge them 50 grand. We'd be good to go.
Richard, yeah.
By the way, I'm against boycotting Boots because we've got to have balance on this show because my sister-in-law works there, and if I don't say that on the show, then I'm in for trouble. That's all I'm going to say.
You're in big trouble. So You're in big trouble.
I'll be in big trouble.
I've got to tell you, I was in Eastbourne today with my wife. She was out doing what she does best. And I'm walking around the town centre. I bumped into three or four viewers whilst I was out in the town centre. One of them was a gentleman who said, I can't believe this. I dreamt last night that I was going to bump into you. He said, this is a bit unreal. He said, only last night I was dreaming. I dreamt I bumped into you, and there he was. So hello to you if you're watching. Richard, give us the latest on Tommy. That's very important, obviously.
Yeah, well, I did a video. Was it last night? I think it was last night, wasn't it? So basically, what they're doing, it seems like the mess about factor. And I emailed Steve today, and he's getting my emails, and he's trying to respond, and the prison are blocking the responses. So I don't know what that's all about. And again, I sent him another email saying, look, mate, they're blocking the responses here. So I'm just going to keep emailing him, and just sort of try and cheer him up. But I think the thing is, it's what they're trying to do. It's mental torture. You imagine, I said it last night like this. Imagine you're kind of staying in a hotel, you go on your sort of 2-week holiday, and then every day, in your 14-day holiday, you get moved out your hotel room, moved to a different town, and you got to get in your room, settle in. Now that's in a hotel. It would be very, very, disconcerting to say the least, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's in a prison, and what they're doing, as far as I know, these prisons were putting packages together for him, right? So I don't think now. Again, I don't have all the facts, but I have some of the facts. I don't think it's the prisons that are to blame. From what I can gather, it is the prisons ministry. And I think Lord Timpson is the prisons minister, right? So if anyone wants to write to anyone, write to Lord Timpson, because he's the guy that is quite possibly pulling the strings here. We don't know, but this is what it seems like. So what's happening?
What about the justice? Would the Justice Secretary have any input into that? Do you think?
I don't know, Paul. I don't know the pecking order. I would imagine so. I imagine it goes Prime Minister, Home Office, Justice Ministry, and then Prisons Ministry. I'm imagining, but I think the Prisons Ministry is separate from the Justice Ministry. I think they did that a few years ago. I could be wrong on that. Maybe some of the viewers can fact check us and see, make sure we're telling the truth. But so getting back to the thing with Tommy, I don't think it's the prisons necessarily, and it seems that the prison officers are being very fair. They're not bullying or intimidating Tommy, and he is safe. But because of what they're doing to him, he's in lockup in a cell 23 and a half hours a day. And this is the thing. This is the psychological torture of it. Because if the prisons put a package in place, he would basically have because he's such a high profile target for Islamists, and there's a lot of Islamists in prison, they would segregate him off in a cell that would basically, as far as I know, be open a considerable amount of the day, where he could go and exercise, he could go and use gym equipment, he could shower, he could even prepare his own food, right? they're the sort of agreements that he's tried to get. As soon as he seems to, because that's what he was trying to agree in Belmarsh, and it seemed like he was possibly going to get that in Woodhill. And then as soon as it seems like he's getting that agreement, they say, "Oh no, he's not a Cat B prisoner. We've got to move him to Cat C. He's a Cat D prisoner." So and
they'll probably do it again. They'll probably move him again.
Well, they did it last time, Danny. They moved him from. I think he was in a prison in Hull where he was very safe. There's a lot of, there wasn't a large Muslim population. I think there was quite a big, I think a biker gang, a Hell's Angels gang or something in that prison. So he was safe in there, right? And then they moved him then to Onley when he wasn't safe, and I think did he go on? I can't remember, but there's been that many times that they've locked him up unjustifiably. But to me, this is the thing. This is the rub. If he's a Category D prisoner, and they can't keep him safe in a Category A, B, or C prison, well then they should put him into an open prison, tag him, and send him home so he can spend his time at home. And he's still being punished. He's still not free to move about. He's still not free to do what he wants. He'd have to report to a police station. I think if they can't get this sorted out, we probably need to look at some point. And again, I don't want to jump the gun, and I don't want to encourage people to do anything. But at some point, there may have to be Free Tommy demonstrations to try and put a bit more pressure on the government. Now, what I would say is, don't do anything at prisons unless it comes from Tommy's family or the team. Or Tommy's team, because if you go in protesting outside a prison, that can cause problems inside the prison which could cause it to be moved.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that.
There was rumours of a protest in Belmarsh, and as soon as those rumours spread, Tommy was then moved to Woodhill, right? So we don't want people turning up at prisons unless it comes from the family, and the family are saying yes, we actually want, or the team saying yes, we want people at the prison. So he's getting messed about. He's getting mentally battered by this. Because when you don't know what's happening next,
possibly deliberately.
Oh, of course, Danny. I don't believe anything happens by accident with this government.
No.
They know exactly that they are the most sinister, despicable people I've ever seen in power.
Don't worry, Richard, because they're going to cop it before the evening's over, I'm sure. Unfortunately, for some reason, my link to Twitter or X never went live tonight. So if anyone out there, guys, anyone with an audience, if you can post a link to the show in your X account, it would be really helpful, because mine didn't work tonight for some reason. Gray says, thank you, Gray. Trump is the vaccine against the world woke virus. British Patriot just watched a video of retired border agents coming out of retirements with other agents saying morale has never been higher because Trump got back in. Brilliant. Paul, sending love to you both, Danny. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Paul.
Epic 2000, how's the pledge coming along? Very, very well indeed. We'll have some updates on that before long.
Yeah.
Mike on a trike, disgustable boots, will never shop there again. Go woke, go broke. Agree 100%. Let's just touch on the.
Can I just touch while we was on the subject of Trump? Cryptocurrency has gone through the roof since. I mean, Bitcoin. No one's really talking about it in the mainstream media because that's what they like to do, isn't it? Dampen anything that's good. Bitcoin is currently, as we speak, $88,089 per coin.
Danny? I know you're into that. I've never been into
31% up in the last week, Paul.
But how much?
31%.
If you'd have bought Bitcoin when it first came out, how much was you paying for them?
Well, if you'd bought 100, it was 0.0007 per coin or something. I mean, it wasn't even a cent. It was insane. I mean, had you have bought £100 worth of Bitcoin when it first launched and you sold it right this minute, you are probably talking 8 to 10 billion, maybe more. £100.
How much?
That was 8 to 10 billion. Seriously.
Oh, shut up, Danny.
I'm serious. I'm telling you straight. I can give you a little. We'll carry on, right? But it's not just Bitcoin.
You're making me feel ill. You're making me feel ill.
Mate, 100 quid on the day that it launched. It would be worth I think around 10 billion, but I'll get confirmation of that in a second for you. Carry on.
That's blown me mind.
Just posted that, Paul.
Sorry?
It's insane.
Just posted that, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
On my Twitter. I'm not
Mr.
sure.
Wolf, the powers that be are trying to break Tommy. Absolutely. Thank you, mate. Let's go to something else I want to talk about. We can't talk about the case itself again because it's now someone has been charged.
I've got that bit of info, Paul.
Go on, Danny.
Just quickly. Okay.
Go on.
I posted this 4 years ago when the Bitcoin was at 19,000. So it's now over 4 times that. Okay. So you've got to times whatever I'm telling you by 4 now. When anyone wants to look about good investments, did you know that when Bitcoin first launched in the stock market, you could buy a whole Bitcoin for 0.00076 per coin? Cents, that was. They peaked some years later at 19,783, which is now 88,000. So that's been blown completely out the waters, over 4 times that. I believe if my calculation's right, that's 26,030,263% increase from both ends. So on the launch, if you'd invested £100 in Bitcoin and cashed it out at its peak, so that would have been when it was 19,000, not 88,000. Your £100 would have turned into 2,603,26,315.78. So now times that by 4 and a bit more, you're looking at about 11 billion now.
Danny, all I can say to that is I've got 2 things to say to that. One is
I'm really sad because I worked it.
Right.
I'm really sad because I worked it all out 4 years ago. But go on.
And the other thing is, why didn't you tell me at the time? There you go.
Well, we didn't know each other back in the however many years ago that was.
Hero, dear. Let's just very briefly.
No one's all the time, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If only I'd put 100 quid into it on the day it launched, mate. If only I had.
Before we go on,
I bet Forrest Gump did.
Yeah, I bet.
Before we go on to the mental health issue again in London yesterday, there's a lot of mental health problems going around. Let's just have a quick look at a video of something that took place in Brighton, my hometown, on Saturday. And while
Sunday,
you
Paul,
watch
wasn't
that,
it? Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
This took place on Saturday, and then I'm going to bring someone in to the show on the phone that was actually there, and they're going to tell us a little bit more about exactly what took place. Let's just have a little look at this.
Nazi scum off our street.
That's actually the wrong video. Sorry about that. Right, okay. The video I wanted to show you actually isn't in my library, but there was a video floating around over the weekend where someone walked past a contingent of Jewish people at an event on Saturday and did a Nazi salute, walked straight past them, goose stepping. Now, the police stood by and actually did nothing whatsoever. Richard, I don't know if you can, I really need to get that video up. I thought I'd had it in my librate tonight.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
let me have a look. I know the video you mean, Paul. It's a question of
let me see. Actually, I have got it here. Let me
cool.
Let me just upload it. Let me upload it onto the screen. I thought I'd already done this, but the viewers really need to see this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be speaking to a gentleman who is actually at the scene on Saturday, because I get accused of giving the police a rough ride here at times, right? But when we look at what took place here, I think the police have a lot of questions to answer. And it's not the first time, because I've been at these events myself and witnessed some of the stuff that goes on, some of the things that are said, who gets away with certain things and who doesn't get away with certain things. So I'm just going to upload this video. Looks like it's taking its time. But then we'll call a gentleman that was there on Saturday, and he can give us a first-hand witness account. Let's watch the video.
Just gone to the Nazi salute. He's just gone through and done a Nazi salute in front of you. You saw that. He just did a Nazi salute, goose stepping, and a Nazi salute in front of you. You did nothing. How dare you? You saw that, him do a Nazi salute. You let him walk past you while he was goose stepping and did a Nazi salute in front of a whole bunch of children. How dare you?
I saw that officer
see it,
as well.
and we're trying to. No, you let him walk past you, and you did nothing to stop him.
Run after him.
Trying to see where he's gone.
All of you officers watched him do that as he did a Nazi salute
I'm
and
trying to see where he's gone.
Why did you not stop him there and then? You let him walk past until I made a fuss.
It's not
How
too
dare
many
you?
fuss. I've been looking, trying to see where he's gone.
Someone could have just grabbed hold of him. He was an old guy.
You're smirking at that.
Me smirking?
You're smirking, are you?
Fucking
At
right,
someone doing goose
not
step and Nazi
smirking at
salute
all.
in front of Jewish
You're a
people.
fucking
And you think it's
Nazi.
funny?
You're
You
a
disgusting
Nazi.
cretin.
You're a Nazi.
No, you are.
Now, you'll have to excuse the language there used by the usual mob, but I'm going to bring a guest into the show now. His name's Martin. Martin was actually there on Saturday. Martin, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, nice to be here.
I hope everyone can hear. Can you hear that all right, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin, tell us a little bit more about what took place Saturday, because what's in that video there? I mean, it's mind-bendingly shocking, to be honest with you, but give us a first-hand account.
Are you referring to the member of the public goose stepping through the middle of the group?
Yeah, that's the video clip we've just been watching, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that happened right out of the blue insofar as nothing, there had been things going on, but nothing like that. I think it caught all of us off guard, but the police, we were just very disappointed indeed at the police reaction to it. As you saw in the video, I mean, we were telling them exactly what we thought about it. But I'm afraid it was in the context of several other things going on during that Saturday session where, we were spat at. We were attacked at one point. One of us was attacked. And the police, I'm afraid, just in the video, as in the video that you just seen, they didn't react in the way you'd expect them to, which is to go to the perpetrator and take them aside and certainly have a good stern word with them and maybe, if necessary, even arrest them. But no, they were more concerned really of protecting them, I think, from and sending us away. Not that we were issuing any threats to them. But for the first time, I think we became really concerned that the police there's almost a disinterest in what was going on, and they're letting far too many things go. That's the real worry. Because as we know, if you don't set boundaries and you allow the boundaries to be bent too much, you cannot get those boundaries back, and it goes from bad to worse.
Yeah.
We're going to have a really good talk with the people in Sussex Police that we liaise with and say that we do need the police to be more proactive. I think to be better briefed about what's allowed and not allowed. I mean, once you allow physical assault, once you allow spitting, once you ask one group to keep their side of the track, but you allow the others to interlope on your side of the track, then something's not right, and it really is very concerning.
Yeah. I mean, Martin, as you know, I've been up there once or twice myself. Yeah. More as an observer, really. Look, I'm going to put my cards on the table. I can't say that I'm exactly neutral. But what I can say is I always like to be fair and I always like to be honest. And what I've witnessed up there, when I think back to my couple of visits, is the police treating one side completely different in which they treat the other. And that for me is two-tier policing. I've witnessed in Brighton myself, I've witnessed out and out terrorist sympathy, terrorist supporting, anti-Semitic chants. I've witnessed threats, and all I've seen is the police basically victim blame.
Yes, I mean, I'm like you. I want to be fair too, and you know, we are grateful to the police insofar as, I mean, you've been on enough marches and rallies. You know, we know that if the police weren't there, there'd be mayhem. So
Yeah.
we're grateful for their presence, and you know, it would be dangerous for us if they weren't there. But we are getting concerned now about exactly what you've just said, Paul. It cannot just be a coincidence all the time that we're the ones who are being shepherded into, you know, you go back there, you go back there. We don't offer any threat at all. I mean, we do not do anything. The opposition, the pro-Palestinians, the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, and many passers-by who join them, I mean, they will rip posters out of your hand. They in the past, they've taken our flags, ripped them up. Not so much since the police were there, but this Saturday was a turning point, I think, because as you saw from that video with the goose stepping guy, when I mean, it was anti-Semitic. You'd have thought that the police would have be briefed to say, well, you know, it's anything that's overtly anti-Semitic, whether it's a chant, whether it's an action, whether it's, you know, you've got to stop it, and they just didn't, and they seem to be you know, be annoyed with us for pointing it out that something should be.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. We still rely on them, so I want to be fair on them, but they do have to see where the aggression is coming from. They have to stop the aggression when they see it. They can't victim blame. You're quite right about that. It seemed to be our fault for getting attacked. It seemed to be our fault for getting spat on. It seemed to be our fault because we didn't like the guy goose-stepping through the middle of a Jewish group. I mean, we're not all Jewish. I personally am not, but there are a lot of Jews there now taking part, especially over recent months. And, you know, it's terribly upsetting for them to see something like that. And nothing, absolutely nothing was done about it.
Yeah. As usual, Martin, look, I really appreciate you joining us tonight and giving us your account. Thank you so much. And, yeah, keep us abreast. If anything else happens up there, let me know. And thanks for joining us.
We will, and hope to see you down there again, Paul. Soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, mate.
Okay.
All the best. Bye-bye. 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 So that's Martin there. I mean, what do you make of that, Richard?
Well, I mean, looking at the footage, and this is going to sound a little bit off maybe, but when you look at those two female police officers, to me, they'd be better working in a library than being frontline police officers. You know, that's the sort of lady that you expect to hand you your overdue booking and you get a 50p fine for bringing your book back a little bit late. They just didn't look like police officers. They had no authority.
She looks lost as to what to do. She looks
That's
like
what
she has no idea.
Know, now, and let's get it right. I mean, we've had some very good interactions with the police in London. We've had some very bad interactions with the police in London, and you know, there's no reason why those events shouldn't be policed exactly the same way as our events are policed. Which means there's a safe distance kept between the pro-Hamas demonstrators and the Jewish people.
Richard, that's a good point, Richard. Sorry me interrupting there, but there is a safe distance. What happens is the pro-Hamas brigade slowly but surely get closer and closer to the opposition.
Yeah. Well, then they should be
closer and closer. And then what they do is instead of moving them back, they move the other people back.
Well, that's weak, and the reality is that's at a command level. I mean, if you know, that wouldn't happen on one of our events. You know, we've had the odd thing where someone's trying to march. We had one on the last one where someone marched up with a Palestinian flag after the event, and I've got video footage of that. But the reality is, you know, they're very isolated incidents. And on the whole, you know, the sides are kept very, very carefully apart. Having said that, we normally outnumber the left about 100 to 1 at most of those events anyway at the minute.
It did last time, Rich, didn't it?
Yeah, you know, but the left still got violent at the last one. Don't forget that.
Well, all the arrests was on the other side. We had none, as the three of us know.
Yeah, to me, and again, I'm not a police officer, but you know, from dealing with these public order officers on these events, conditions are put down on an event, and if you break those conditions, you're liable for arrest. So why can't they put conditions on it that the pro-Hamas people stay on this side of the road because they're still in line of sight, and the pro-Israel people stay on the other side of the road, and never the two shall meet, and you have a line of police officers on the road separating them? That would be a
two-tier policing.
Well, it is, and I wonder, is it something specific about Brighton? You know, because I've done a lot of events I think I've worked out, I've done well over 100 events in the past 7 years, and the reality is that when it's gone wrong, it's been down to the police officers on the ground that have messed up and or have deliberately led the counter demonstrations into our path, and that's when it's gone wrong. So to me, it is down to the police, and whoever's in command in Brighton, he needs to get a grip, because sooner or later there's going to be a serious assault, or someone's going to get very, very seriously hurt.
That's my fear. That's my fear. I mean, look, you know, I don't want to milk this, but I want to play this just once more, and I'll tell you why I want to play it once more. And I really don't want to bring colour into this, because I want to protect everyone, and I mean everyone. But just imagine for a moment that this group was a group of BLM protesters, for an example, and a guy wearing a Union Jack walked past doing some kind of animalistic gesture. I wonder if the police's reaction would be somewhat different. Let's just watch this again. Do these officers realise how offensive this is, not only to the people there that happen to be Jewish, but to the entire British nation whose forefathers fought and died to get rid of the Nazis? I mean, now that's the other one again that I'll hold on a second.
Just gone to the Nazi street.
I mean, it's obscene, isn't it? I mean, at least, I'm not saying he should be thrown in jail, but there have been people thrown in jail for less recently, right? But they should at least have a word with him.
It's inciting racial hatred, so he should be thrown in jail.
Exactly. Let's have a look at the other video. Let's have a look at the other video that shows the absolute insanity of those on the left and how vicious and vile they are becoming. Look at this.
Nazi scum off our streets! Scum off our streets! Nazi 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 scum off our streets! Off our streets! Off our streets! Nazi scum 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 off our streets! Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. Say it.
I wonder if he's got any refugees staying at his gaff. I bet you he ain't.
Danny, I don't know if you spot that there, but these people are there supporting British farmers.
I know.
Now,
with
British
a flag
farmers
round and
now,
being proud, mate. Being proud. If you're proud,
British farmers,
you're racist. You're a Nazi.
British farmers are now Nazi scum. And then the black guy walks past. You know, I mean, what? These people have just completely lost the plot. Just completely lost the plot.
Paul, probably that's the only two sentences that he can come out with. If you went out of him on a Friday night, that would be his topic of conversation. That would be it.
But this little video, this little video that I'm going to play now explains why they keep using that term. Have a little look at this. This is a great explanation, and this is from way, way, way back.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable buildups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind.
The thing is, Paul, it has real world consequences, as I'm finding out. You know, we have stood against the far right, even physically stood against them on a number of occasions. And I mean physically stood against them. Tommy has, we've all done it, that's been involved in street protests for years. We've put them out of all our demos. We don't have anything to do with the genuine anti-Semitic racist scum. We do cut, they aren't, because they are Nazis, right? We don't have anything to do with them, right? But we have been demonized, and Hope Not Hate have a massive amount of responsibility in this. The Guardian newspaper, all the left-wing rags and the left-wing media, and even the Daily Mail would demonize us and call us far right. And what happens is you have situations like I've got in business at the minute where I'm being boycotted by a company because of my values. Because of my values. What are those values? Yeah. Those values are being against extremism, being against racism, being against Islamism, being against anti-Semitism, being against hatred, and wanting to unite the kingdom. But apparently those values are completely intolerable. People won't even boycott your business, Paul, for those values.
Yeah,
and that's,
I know.
That's the real world consequence.
It's a very cheap label now, though, isn't it? It's a very cheap label. That's all they do. They throw it. But Paul, right? I said this to someone the other day. You've got to value the opinion of these clowns to let it affect you, I don't care what I get labelled anymore. I actually don't care. I've got to a point in my life they can label me whatever.
No,
I don't value their opinion, so it doesn't count.
I gave up caring ages ago.
Exactly that, mate. Exactly that.
It doesn't matter. But that was a first-hand account from Martin about what took place in Brighton on Saturday, which brings me to, I mean, the two-tier policing thing that we speak about so often. I get one or two people that say to me, "Oh, you know what? You give the police a rough time." Excuse me. They're not interested in. Excuse me. They're not interested in little minor spates like that. They got better things to do. But the problem is that these issues keep coming up time and time and time again. There's video after video after video. There's another video surfacing today where a guy is arrested for nothing much more than defending himself verbally against the pro-Hamas mob. And the police arrest him. The guy's in his 60s, looks like he's in his 60s. He's quite frail. And they march him off and arrest him under some trumped-up section. I think they deserve every ounce of criticism they get, quite honestly.
Totally. And I think one of I was talking to a former police officer about this yesterday, and he was public order officer. He says the problem is they're terrified. The top brass of the police are terrified of the Islamists and their fellow travelers, because they can't. If they kick off, they don't have the officers to quell that violence, and they know that, and that's why they're getting away with almost murder. And sooner or later, it will be murder, Paul, because sooner or later, we saw what happened in Amsterdam last weekend. Sooner or later, these anti-Semitic attacks are going to get totally out of hand. And that is the big fear. I mean, it nearly happened during the riots in August. And that's always the big fear. When disorder starts, it's very difficult to put the lid back on the bottle, to put the genie back in the bottle. Yeah. And so in a way, I can understand them being worried about that, but that doesn't give them an excuse for cowardice, and it doesn't give them an excuse for moral relativism. At the end of the day,